Hey, captive audience. It's Contumacious Sunny and Denier Dave or Denier Dave.
Oh, I don't know what contumacious means. You got me.
Well, I had to, it actually is kind of like stubborn. I'm not going to be giving in and just complying. I'm not the natural, just compliant. I'm the independent thinker, but contumacious would be another word would be stubborn.
Oh, nice. That's a good
Yeah,
word. Thank you for educating me on that one. I've never heard that one before.
you bet. You
I'm just
bet.
a denier. I just deny everything. I came up with this new theory because people give me stuff. Well, the word is shit. People give me shit about my general uh, non my general scoffing at a lot of conspiracy theories, right?
Hmm.
Because many of them that you see in social media uh, are easily irrefutable. I got one today from it's a TikTok video. A guy says this plane owned by the FBI flew around in a pattern where all the fires are, or flew around in a pattern in Northern California, and now there's fires everywhere, right? And one of my other followers, sent it and said, "Hey, you might want to look into this." So I looked into it, and I found out, well, the plane's not owned by the FBI. It was at one time, but it's been owned by four different people, and currently a fire outfit, a fire services outfit, owns the plane. And when the plane flew around, it was flying around 2 days after the fire started.
It was fire scouting to see what they needed to do, assessing the situation, sounds like. Oh, darn, David froze up there. Oh, there you
David,
go. Now you're unfroze.
it froze up. The inference was that this plane started the fires. That you could start fires in a small two-engine jet, which I guess you could.
Sure.
If you had the ability to drop like fire bombs out of your little personal jet, which would take quite a bit of modification for a plane to do that, because most passenger jets don't come with bomb bays or bomb doors. But I came up with this new theory. If many of the conspiracy theories are true, I think
Oh, David. This is not the opportune time to freeze, and I'm sorry to hear another fire has started around Salem, Silver Creek Falls. So, there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there on so many levels of so many things. And some, quite frankly, there's a lot that I think have come true. And then, of course, then there's others that I see and I just go, I don't think so. So I see David's point, of some things when you look into it and go, is this real? Is this something that happened? So there you are, David. That
that was
was
a long freeze
that
there.
was a long disappear, pal. So we kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, you'll have to catch me up on the show now.
yeah. And so I said, there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there, many of which have come true. I mean, look at things, but then there's those that you just go, no, I don't think so.
Right.
So,
So real quickly before I freeze again, my new theory is this: if these things are true, and many of them do seem to be true, that my theory is this: is that everyone at the top of the food chain is in on it. Everyone,
well,
everyone at the top of the food chain is in on it, bar
mhm.
none. They are all in on it. That's my new conspiracy theory.
Okay. Okay. So, hey, what did you think? Did you watch the debate? I mean, it's all about Trump, is what's all in the news, right? And I thought we could start tonight about that and Trump's Twitter return, which I thought was killer, killer, actually. So, did you watch any of the debate or the thing with Trump and Tucker?
I tried to watch the the thing with Tucker and it didn't interest me in the least, so I didn't watch it. And I did not watch any of the debate. I haven't even seen a debate highlight, so I don't know. I don't know what went on there. It's kind of a moot point. I mean, unless Trump dies before the primary, he wins the primary, right?
Well, I'm with you there. And the thing is, and something that is disappointing to me is that, I mean, I realize you realize this too, that those that are running for so-called president right now, they're either running to get a name recognition, they're running to go, I'm a former presidential candidate, and or they're wanting
Or
to
get a
split
book
the vote,
deal.
or they are running for vice president. They're going, let me showcase who I am so that maybe I'll be the VP pick. But in all honesty, I would like all of them to leave and I'll get behind Trump and let's turn this country around. That's where the Republicans need to be. That's where the energy needs to be. And believe me, the people don't need to be assessing who's next or who could be VP, because after Trump wins the election, he'll pick who he wants after he wins the primary.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um,
We need the unity because,
well,
it's
yeah,
bigger
one
than
would.
this party. And it's looking like uniparty at the top in so many ways. And for me, I am sick of it.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that when the primary is over, that anybody who has any significant polling numbers will get behind Trump. Um, but the thing that worries me is what I need to hear from Trump is how he's going to win the general. I mean, I'm voting for him, right, because he's going to be the nominee. But how
Right.
the hell is he going to win? He didn't win in 2020. What's changed? Tell me.
So we're gonna know more. I don't know. They're talking about there's some strategy. I don't even know what it is, but some uh, bank your vote. That's the term that I've heard, but I haven't looked into what that is. Bank your vote. Voting early, I think, is what it is, so that we have more time to get out the vote. But as
Right.
you and I have talked many times on Captive Audience, we have to have more Republican voters. But I will tell you, after his indictment, even before his indictment, there are so many more people coming from that are just saying, you know what, I absolutely support Trump, because that's who's going to make the difference for this nation. More and more people are waking up to the fact of the danger our nation is in with the lawfare that's going on and the two forms of justice that we have, two tiers of justice. Well, David froze again. I'm sorry, David. I'm and it's and I'll tell you, one of the funny parts about a couple of things that I saw during, I only watched a little bit. I saw a couple of clips from the debate, so-called debate. And one of them was, and it's hilarious because they said, are you going to all the candidates, if Trump wins the primary, are you going to support him? And immediately Vivek Ramaswamy's hand goes up. First thing, like, right now. And I think three other hands went up, and you see Ron DeSantis look to his left and look to his right, and then he puts his hand up. He goes, oh shit, I better get in on this. I mean, it was just, I went, oh my word, Ron DeSantis, come on. But I just want to see, frankly, the party and the unity getting behind who is our nominee. And I think that, frankly, I do think Trump will win the general election. But you see, the media, the mainstream media, I do.
Tell me how.
I think because more people are leaving the Democrat Party and are coming they'll be able to vote for him. They might not be doing that for the primary, but more and more and more people are just saying, I'm done. Look at the demographic change in the last couple of years, David, of people fleeing the blue states with the high taxes, high crime, and going to so-called red states to get out of what they've been living in. So those people have said they've made a huge investment in their life to get the heck out of crime-ridden, high-tax towns and states to go move somewhere else. Do you think they're going to still vote the same way? I don't think so.
Well, if Republicans or conservatives or people who would vote for Trump are moving from swing states, then that does not portend well for a presidential election. So presidents are elected by electoral votes, not popular vote. So it's a much different election than, say, a governor.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
much different election. And my problem is he lost by whatever means he lost by in 2020, and I just want to know how he's going to not make sure that doesn't happen again.
I don't know that he can make sure about that, but I do know that some states have changed their election laws, have tightened up controls, and I'm really hoping that that will bode well for the election.
Well, I sure hope so. I'd hate to see another Biden term. If
Or
Biden makes it.
whomever is their nominee,
Yeah,
because I don't
yeah,
think it's
if he
going to be
makes it.
Biden.
Yeah, if he makes it.
I could be wrong, but I don't think it could be Biden. So
Yeah.
I did post a link there that is to Trump's Twitter, his first tweet. And it's interesting. It was the first tweet since November of 20 or January of 21, because that's when he was removed on the 6th of January. And so here you have him on August 24th, yesterday, his very first tweet, and it's election, his picture that looks like a pissed off guy to me.
Yeah.
Election interference, never surrender, and DonaldJTrump.com.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. I mentioned earlier in the day that if it were me, I totally would have showed up in orange biryani. I would have had biryani make me an orange suit, and I would have showed up in it. But I'm not sure that Trump and I have the same sense of humor.
No, he's wearing his same suit, his campaign suit that he lives in, and I'm sure he's got several. And that's to me, that's like become, he's either in a golfing shirt, or he's in a suit like this, blue, navy suit, white shirt, red tie, or
Nice
without
suit.
a tie.
It's a nice suit.
Yes, it is. Very nice. Very nice.
He has good taste in suits.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know much about men's suits, but he wears it well. I can say that.
I wear the same thing he wears.
Do you?
I do, yeah. Biryani.
Okay. Well, see, that doesn't.
That's one of the best suits out there. Fine Italian suit.
So there is something that came today on PJ Media, is that the Justice Department is now suing Elon Musk for not hiring illegal immigrants and asylum seekers.
What?
Yes. Yeah. And he says,
Where did you hear that?
That's on PJ Media. I just posted the link.
Really?
Yes, it's today. Rick Moran wrote this.
You're telling me a government agency can sue an employer for not hiring illegal aliens?
Well,
or is there some little spin in there that I'm missing?
No, it is saying that his company, SpaceX, has been sued by the Justice Department because he's refused to hire asylum seekers and illegal immigrants. Basically saying you're not applying, it alleges that from September of 18 to May of last year, 2022, SpaceX routinely discouraged asylees and refugees from applying and refused to hire them. and because of their citizenship status. But SpaceX says that Musk is accusing the DOJ and by extension the Biden administration of weaponizing the DOJ for political purposes. And
no, they'd never do that, Sonny.
Oh, don't you think? So SpaceX has said the company was told repeatedly that hiring anyone who was not a permanent resident of the United States, which also would be a green card holder, would violate international arms trafficking law, which would be a criminal offense.
Their contracts with NASA.
And so I don't know what their contracts are. And Clark has said that SpaceX recruiters and high-level officials actively discouraged asylum recipients and refugees from seeking work opportunities with the company. And the DOJ is saying that SpaceX failed to fairly consider to hire asylees and refugees because of their citizenship status. And DOJ wants back wages and fair consideration for asylum recipients and refugees who were denied employment at SpaceX. You know, you just can't make up this stuff in the upside down world that we're in.
No, you can't. You can't. Yeah. Well, all that stupid employment law crap, you know. An employer really should be able to hire whoever they want, as far as I'm concerned. But I guess it's just not that way in America anymore.
But, you know, I feel that if a person is in our country illegally, if you're exacerbating the problem by allowing them to get a job. And now we have a city. What state or city is it that says we're going to hire them as police officers? You're in the country illegally and you're going to get hired as police officers? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's enabling them to maintain themselves here illegally. And we shouldn't be allowing that.
Yeah, I guess
it
the crux
also keep our wages lower in America.
Yeah. Well, that's good because that means there's more money left for us.
Yeah, that's whacked. All right. That is a whacked. You know, when now you're going to get sued by the government because you don't hire illegals. It's always been illegal to hire illegals. When I was in business, we had to, let me tell you, there every now and then the fellas, their green rigs would show up and the guys would go, but I had all legal people working for me, you know, and they would have to go show their cards. And I've had to show identification and take a course on how to look at a social security card to see if it's fraudulent or not. I mean, this is going back a few years, several years,
Right.
but that's what it used to be back when we had law and order in our country.
Yeah, well, I can almost guarantee you that SpaceX's contracts with the federal government probably has a ton more restrictions than anyone else does, than the meat packing plant down the road.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so, but it's still
I mean, you're not going to hire any Chinese nationals. You know, they're not going to allow that. They're not going to allow.
I don't know.
I'm sure that SpaceX was doing what they were told by their federal contract, which is, you know, only putting people in positions that have access to technology that have been vetted by NASA.
I don't know. I don't know anything about their contracts or just what, because I don't know. I look at SpaceX as being a private company, and that is doing shuttling, among other things. Because I mean, SpaceX is also isn't SpaceX doing their satellites as well?
It is, yeah, but they're bread and butter than the vast majority of their business is contracting for NASA.
And going to the
doing whatever NASA wants, going to the space station, taking
running supplies and
satellites. Yeah.
And then other countries, I think, have also contracted with them to put up satellites.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're a space company, And I guess anybody could, maybe not Russia. I don't know, except getting their spaceman or woman to astronaut over to the space center. So I don't know, but I don't think it's right. I'll say that the Justice Department
No,
is after an entity for not hiring illegals and asylum seekers.
that's what happens when you're found guilty of wrong think. And if that
That's
wrong
it.
think, when that wrong think turns into wrong speak, that's when the DOJ, the FBI, the IRS, and all the other anachronized agencies come knocking at your door because you're a wrong speaker now. Wrong
Yeah.
speakers will not be tolerated. Did you hear what happened to Jordan Peterson? He was found guilty of wrong speak in Canada, and he's been sentenced to re-education.
Sentenced to re-education. Now that sounds to me like something China does, or back in Germany, right? Sent you to a
Hey,
re-education camp. The
but
Nazis.
you don't have to go that far anymore. You can just drive north, and you can be in a country that has re-education as a punishment for saying and thinking the wrong thing.
And so, how long do you have to go to re-education camp?
I don't
Is it
think Jordan. I don't think Jordan Peterson is going to go. My guess is Jordan Peterson seeks asylum in the United States and maybe tries to get a job at SpaceX.
There we go. Okay. No, I had not heard that story at all, and I do not agree with re-education camps. You know, this is the globalization, the one world order stuff that they want to do. Re-education type camps, one world order stuff, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's the goal, and
yeah.
um,
Canada seems to have really accelerated their whole globalist, WEF loving, who loving, woke loving, DEI ESG worshiping
yeah.
agenda. Yeah, too bad. Too bad. It's it's a good country. It's good people. It's too bad that
Yes,
they're.
it is, and they need to do something to take their country back.
Oh, you know what they're probably doing, Sonny? They're probably a little pissed off that all the Hollywood elites have lied about moving to Canada every time a Republican was elected. So here's what they're doing. They're making it the kind of country the Hollywood elites want to live in.
Oh, that's it. But are they fleeing yet, David?
They don't leave LA.
No, they don't. I'll tell you, there's
Colorado.
been lots that have threatened. Lots that have threatened, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy you a plane ticket.
Yeah. And Canada's a bigger country than ours. I mean, there's lots of space there.
There is. There
Half of
is.
it's on
It's
fire
all
right
on fire right now, though. If you look at the fire maps, oh
now. Oh,
my words, it's from
yeah.
coast to coast.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
coast to coast.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, fires everywhere. We had, I have a photo that shows all of the lightning strikes in Oregon last night, and there are 1,600 lightning strikes, and they go right up up the Coast Range here, and then up the Cascades, and they're all the way up the state. And so I look at the fire map this morning after those passed through yesterday, and there's fires all the way up the state now. New fires. I counted more than 20.
Wow. Well, and as we first got on here tonight, it was, I think, Bobby that said that there's a new fire in Round Salem, Silver Creek Falls. You know, so, yeah, and so that's really a shame. And it was somebody else had said, I saw on social media, had said that the the lightning just woke them up. Thunder and lightning woke them up in the wee hours of the morning because their dogs are going crazy, and the that lasted really heavy for an hour and a half, and then moved off, and then and there is some fires in the area. I'll tell you, it's summer, and when you don't have managed fires, that's what happens, you know. And Lars Larson did a story here that I found in the Oregon Catalyst, and he says Why government forests burn, but private ones don't? And that totally is the truth. And in fact, something that I saw in this article, and you have said this before. I believe it was you. Was that there's a doctor, Bob Zybach, a forest scientist, doctor, documented 35 years from 1952 to 1987, where the Northwest had only one large fire. But that's when we were cutting trees, replanting, and managing forests.
Yeah. Well, that's not true. It was because of climate change. That's why we have more fires.
Well, that's what they would like you to think. No, sir, it's that darn spotted owl that stopped all the foresting happening, and but they're all gone now. They've all burned up.
Yeah, I've been ragging on this for well ever since the flat fire started, which was middle of July. It was July 15th actually, and I've been harping on this on Twitter. Fighting with the trolls. And the fact of the matter is that fire is not. I mean, there's fire scientists, I guess, but it's not rocket science. If you have oxygen and you have fuel and you have ignition, then you have a fire, right?
Yep.
And we can't control ignition for the most part, certainly can't control lightning, and we can't control the oxygen supply, but we can control the fuel supply and the fuel load. So I told one troll, he said that fuel doesn't make any difference. And I said, well, I want you to go out in the forest and I want you to clear a 10-foot square area all the way down to the ground. And I want you to build a fire without fuel. Mm-hmm. And then I want you to keep that fire going without fuel. And then if you can, make it bigger without fuel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's fuel load management. And one thing I didn't read that article, but I'd heard that guy talk, the Zyback guy. The other thing is drought. Now, I even though I'm a denier, I don't deny that climates have always changed, that climate is now changing, and that climate will always change. It's what climate does.
It is
what it does, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's drier in some years. It's not unusually dry in other years. But one of the things that affects the fuel load in the forest and it's kind of a drought producing effect, is the number of trees. So where a forest is healthy at let's say 100 trees per acre, we have those types of forests that should have about 100 trees per acre. They have 400 trees per acre.
Yeah.
So there's four times as many trees competing for the same amount of water. They suffer from drought. When they suffer low humidity conditions, which a lot of our forests do now because they are so overcrowded with trees, they're unable to expel the pests, and then the pests kill them, pine beetle or fir beetle or bark beetle, whatever you want to call it, or whatever, which one it is, and the trees die, and boom, there's more fuel.
Yeah.
Just waiting for lightning, and so I absolutely believe that if we were in our forests and we were harvesting the renewable resources that the forest provides, not at the BS rate that we are, but at a good, sustainable rate where we bring in, hundreds of billions of dollars of economic activity into the state of Oregon, provide thousands of jobs, and also keep our forests managed, that we wouldn't have the big forest fires like we didn't for 100 freaking years.
Right. And that's the difference of on public lands. That's exactly what people are doing. They're thinning and managing it. And in our federal lands, it's not. And so that's what we're having. And to see the fires that are burning, it's just atrocious. And they're blaming that all on climate change. And in the summer it gets hot, and we have dry lightning storms where it's lightning and there's no rain.
Yeah.
And
we had 12 drops of rain last night, I think.
And we also have people that don't put out their campfires. We have man-caused fires as well, irresponsible campers. And, stuff happens, but it has, in our lifetime, this is the most that we have ever seen burned up. It's just the last
Oh
few.
yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I looked at the information. The information's a bit subjective and a little bit sketchy or hard to put together, but I can say with reasonable confidence that between 1902 and 2002, that's 100 years, we had 8 to 10 large
Yeah,
fires.
yeah,
We had 3 big Tillamook burns, and they're roughly that many. Maybe
mhm,
it was 12, maybe it was 14, but in 100 years, I would say we had definitely had less than 15 large fires. So from 2002 to 2022, 20 years, we are more than 40 fires, mega fires, big
yeah,
fires. And
yeah.
that's not happening just because the climate is changing. Are the forests getting drier? Yes, they are, because there's more trees sucking up the water, and so there's less water for each tree. Yes, they are. So, and you can look at on July 15th, the flat fire started. It's been contained at 35,000 acres because it ran into burn scars, because so much, almost half of our forests in Western Oregon have burned. I don't know if you know that or not, but I have a map of all the scars,
Hmm.
and nearly half of it
Wow.
has. So,
Wow.
so the flat fire started on the 15th of July. The 224 fire out of Estacada started the very same day. The 224 fire started in managed reforested forest. It was contained within 7 days at 40 acres. The flat fire within 7 days had gone from 500 acres to 30,000 acres.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so there's one study out there that some guy who used to be a firefighter and became a super smart professor, works at OSU. He put out the study saying managed forest land does not stop forest fire. And
Baloney.
yeah, and so all of the trolls, all of the environmentalists, all of the tree hugging, tree maggots, tree fascists are all holding up this study saying, "See, you don't have to manage the forest; it makes no difference." So I looked into his study, I read it, and then I looked into his methodology. What's his methodology? Modeling,
Yeah, and you have to look at real data, not computer generated data.
like
Modeling.
like the 224 fire.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know,
And you can also look at our historical data of like you just said, 100 years, that
yeah,
we have a handful, a dozen or so big fires, and compared to the last 20 years.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
everybody's saying that they're saying that managed forests don't do anything because of the 2020 fires, like the Beachy Creek uh, in the Santa Am Canyon, because
Mhm.
it burned a lot of reforested managed property. Why? Because the wind was blowing 60 miles an hour. So 60
Yeah.
mile an hour wind, all bets are off.
Well, absolutely. That's what happened in Lahaina, quite
Yeah,
frankly. I mean, they even if they had had water, okay, they had lots of problems there, but when you have high winds, all bets are off. But remember, Dave, just a few short years ago, our Governor Brown let the forest burn and would not allow any fighting to happen whatsoever. People were begging them to bring in the airplanes and fight the fires. She says, "Nope, we're not going to." So we have things like government intervention. I don't know if you caught any of what I just said, but we've also had our governor um, saying we're not going to fight the fires. Remember that just a few short years ago,
yeah.
and Governor Brown goes, "No, we're not going to do anything. We're going to let it go." And the fire, that's why we got some of our very large fires. Wouldn't call for any air support or anything like that. It was atrocious.
It was atrocious. It was.
Hey, did you hear about? I got a funny story. I think this will. I kind of thought it was funny. Funny, not funny. the cocaine raccoons are terrorizing Portland. And
Are they using or selling cocaine?
well, I think they are consuming it.
Okay, because
They're saying,
that's legal. That's legal. So okay, go on.
well, you're right, but it can have unintended consequences that people are on their porches right near their front doors or wherever. And the story that I just posted, they've got several pictures in here that and videos of a guy in Portland fighting a raccoon with a wooden pallet, and the raccoon is unafraid of this guy and his dog. A possible sign of intoxication, but it could also be a possible sign of rabies. And this article in the Oregon Watchdog goes on to say that there's a sudden increase in aggressive raccoon attacks in Oregon this August, as well as an increase in overdose deaths. Are they correlated? We don't know.
Raccoon overdoses?
Well, it just says an overdose deaths. So I don't, it doesn't state if it could be raccoon overdoses, but it does say in here that raccoons go on the rise when you've got dilapidated, empty buildings,
Sure.
which
Garbage.
and garbage, you know, the homeless has got food scraps all over and some drugs all over. You know, you can just think it doesn't take much to get a raccoon loaded. And another video, a woman and her dog are being attacked by a overly aggressive, possibly high raccoon.
Well, I know how to fix this immediately, and it'll be easy in the city of Portland.
Okay.
Just give them fentanyl. So instead of being aggressive, they'll just go. That'll be your raccoons. You'll have raccoons standing on all fours with their head down.
So it's, you know, it talks about the homelessness helps actually drive
homeless raccoons.
No, but it helps to, they're having an explosion of raccoons everywhere. And they're attributing it to, could be, to homelessness. With more food and these empty buildings and dilapidated areas, there's something like the Oregon office says that is the occupancy rate is 30% below the national average, making Portland a haven for raccoons. And like the Southeast Portland Kmart building that burned to the ground from homeless squatters is one example of an entire building left desolate for years. And if you've had more squatters around it, they're just feeding the raccoons, which is exacerbating this problem.
Well, they're getting their food for free from the taxpayer, so they probably are feeding the raccoons. And maybe, just maybe, these people need a friend, and raccoons are those friends. Although I'm pretty sure a raccoon, as soon as you nod off, they're going to steal your damn Twinkies.
Oh, 100%. And they're going to get, if they're starting to get into the cocaine, they're going to get in your drug stash if you've got those too. Oh, David, he froze up again. Oh my goodness. He's having problem with his internet, I think, a little tonight. So I thought that was funny. Finally, yeah, raccoons may be the answer to get the homeless off their butts. You know what? Maybe so.
Man, I'm really freezy McFreezer face tonight,
Yes,
aren't I?
you are.
I wonder if it's the smoke that's interfering with my Starlink.
And so what's the air quality index there where you're at right now?
I don't know. Oh, it's not too bad. I can see the.
He just froze again. I love you, David. I love you, David. But it's tell us what it is when you get back on here. I'll tell you, this whole thing with the raccoons I thought was funny as hell. Okay, what's your AQI?
It's not horrible. I can see the sun.
Okay, that's good if you can see the sun.
Yeah, it's smoky, but yesterday at this time there was only just an orange outline with no sunshine.
Okay. All right. Well, Hey everybody, have a good night, have a good weekend. If you're in the fire area, get out, and I pray for all of you and for all the people that are dealing with fires and the smoke. It's not. I feel for all of our animals that are not able to get out of this. You know, it's awful because it's one thing seeing our forest burn, but think of all of the wildlife that is being displaced and killed
Hmm.
because of this um, irresponsible action. The consequences are irresponsible from previous actions for sure.
Yeah, it's 20 years of bad policy.
Yep, or more, or more.
Hmm. Yeah.
So hey everybody, have a good weekend and share the message. Share the message and we'll be oh hey on Monday, Kevin is going to have oh who was that?
Steve Yates, it's his
Yeah.
birthday today. Everybody go wish Steve Yates a happy birthday. I had a picture of Steve Yates blowing out birthday candles come up in my Facebook memories today.
Okay, and so that is who Kevin is going to have on Monday.
Steve Yates, former White House deputy security advisor.
Yep, great guy. So
Yeah.
that'll be on Monday. We'll see you
Yep.
next week. Have a
Good
good
night, everybody.
weekend. Bye.